What's going on? It's time for another episode of Too Hard for the Radio. Transmitting from the future free state of Greater Idaho, I am the one-armed madman. And back with me from the Badlands of Southern Montana, he's got a CL in hand. It's Nolan 5150. What's up, dude? How we doing?
Oh, pretty good. Got the daylight still, so this natural lighting,
I'm doing the I'm doing the Ian Carroll video. As you can see behind my TikTok where the thing is rolling around, my shoulder's still fucked up. I was getting better. I was thinking like another month and I'm probably gonna be good. And then last night I'm doing fucking my exercises in the hot tub and I'm doing these big, you do big circles, and my fucking shoulder popped out and popped back in.
Oh fuck.
And it fucking hurts today, let me tell you. I've never done that before. It was pretty fucking scary, actually. You just feel it immediately, and you hear a bunch of like popping and tearing, and it's just like, oh god, what did I do?
Yeah. So did it just go out and go right back in, or did you have to go to the edge of the hot tub and be like, ah?
No, that was my buddy Dan said too. He's like, did you pop it back in Lethal Weapon style? I was like, no, I didn't get the chance. I would have had to put that one on camera, even though I was naked in the hot tub. Dude, I don't remember what race it was, but it must have been like between 2001 and 2003. Chad Reed was over here like his first couple seasons on the 250F, and he popped his shoulder out in the middle of a fucking moto and leaned his bike up against a fucking tree, smashed it back in, and headed back out on the track and finished the fucking race. What a savage. What a fucking savage. They make people different down there in Australia. They're fucking savages, I'll tell you, man. That's something. I've never popped my shoulder out before that one, and it wasn't even a full dislocation. It was just like a half or whatever. And fuck, man, it hurt. Like, I can't imagine going back out on the track after that and just getting hammered. It was probably at Southwick, now that I think about it, because Southwick's the roughest, gnarliest sand track we've got on the circuit. And man, it was something. It was something. Those guys are fucking impressive. Did you see that text that I sent you today of Jet Lawrence and Eli Tomac going at it at Pala?
Oh, no. Was that... I saw it. I forgot to look at that.
Dude, the level is high right now. The level is fucking high. I mean, you've seen some of the greatest races in history. Like, you've seen Ricky Carmichael and Bubba Stewart fucking demolish people at Glen Helen or Hangtown or fucking Washougal. Were you with us at Washougal when Kevin Windham beat Ricky Carmichael for the first time and like anybody had beat him in like 4 years? That was a great race.
I don't know. Was that the only time I went up there with you was when we drove up from Southern California, and then
I think that was the time. It was that time frame, anyways. But man, we've seen some great fucking races over the years. But
yeah,
I can tell you, the level is so much higher now than it used to be. It's just insane. It's absolutely insane how fast these guys are going. Jet Lawrence, like you watch like Eli Tomac ride on any track, and you're like, oh, there's no possible way anybody could ever go faster on a dirt bike than he's going. He rides a 450 like a 125. He just holds it wide open and modulates with the clutch. On a factory 450, just hammering as hard as you possibly can. And he's getting bounced off of shit and bounced around and just getting hammered. And he'll creep up on Jet, and then Jet will just let it go for a couple corners. And you're like, holy Christ, how does he do that? Because he rides the bike so fucking perfectly. Like, he's just very neutral on the bike. He has a lot of roll speed. He doesn't really open it up all that much. And you watch him ride, and it's like watching Kevin Windham. It's like, okay, like, that's great. You can ride like that, but Ricky's just going to smoke you because he's going to hold it wide open. And that's just not the case with him. He can manage, and he's so fucking nuts. Like, I heard an interview with him a couple weeks ago where he said that when he first got onto the 450, he was scared to hold it wide open for like 4 or 5 races. He never lost a moto that summer. He went perfect in his first season in the 450s, and he was scared to open the bike up all the way. Jesus Christ, what happens when you learn how to open the bike up all the way? Like, is it just over? And I think it's over. I think actually he's probably going to break every fucking record in the record books. Like 72 Supercross wins is a lot, but it's definitely possible. The outdoor shit, he's going to demolish everybody in outdoor motocross. He might not lose a moto again this year. His starts are insane. The Hondas are fucking gnarly, dude. Nothing like a factory Honda. There's on the start this weekend, Hunter Lawrence got the start on a 450. And dude, he's like 3 or 4 bike lengths in front of everybody. And you just go, what the fuck are they putting in these goddamn things? Does he just have a nitrous button? Like, I don't understand it. These bikes are so goddamn fast nowadays. It's really something. But I did come across a couple of really cool motocross videos that we're going to play here to start the show out. I haven't really been too much into politics lately. I'm pretty frustrated with the Trump campaign and not a lot's getting done. So I'm kind of locked in on moto right now. And these are some cool videos. You know, if you're not into moto, fucking fast forward for 5 or 10 minutes, but this will still be entertaining anyways, because it's not just about moto, it's about technology. So here is this guy, I don't know his name, but he's Factory Kawasaki's test rider.
Just because it's factory fork. If you can't set them up like those factory forks, it's the same with standard.
Yeah, probably worse.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
And then people go, oh, those A-kit, Showa A-kit or KYB, kit suspension. To be honest, these days they're pretty much the same as stock.
Yeah. Well, so I got Ross at Enzo is doing some suspension for my Yamaha.
Yeah.
And even he's saying, apart from, so he gets all the Kashima stuff done and the seals.
Yeah.
But he's like, dude, the internals are basically the same.
Yeah, it's basically stock.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And but that's how good the stock stuff's gotten these days.
Yeah. Like even now, like I tell factory Showa guys, like, you know, because I test for them as well, right? So I go there and test, and like if sometimes when I'm racing, I'm racing this year as well, one of the rounds. Like I have to test few stuff, like we testing suspension and maybe tires or whatever. Like it's weird, like we try to set it up the factory suspension. Okay, I'm not going there and win anyway, but like try to set it up. I'm struggling, you know. And then we get the stock stuff. We do the stock stuff. I said, man, stock stuff's better. The one suspension costs nearly like 30, 40 grand, a fork. Stock stuff's $1,000. That's better. Like, that's what I mean. There's a lot of suspension technician out there, you know, like to do suspension. Like, if you can get the right technician for you, you can make it standard stuff pretty good. You don't need this flashy factory A-kit, you know. I mean, like it's nice, but as a performance wise, these stock stuff now these days it's pretty good, you know.
So I have experience with this very much so. So when I was a kid, A-kit suspension was the baddest shit you could get. You couldn't get factory suspension, but you could get A-kit suspension, which was really fucking good. It had better valving, it had better springs, had the Kashima coating and the better seals. And when I bought my 07 Kawasaki and decided to pimp it out, I had a buddy that had 2 sets of A-kit suspension, one on a 250 and one on a 450. I was like, fuck, man, I need that suspension. Like I rode the bike and it's like, fuck, man, this bike is insane. I need that suspension. And so we had a buddy, Drewski, who lived on our couch for a long time. Caught him jerking off in a mall parking lot one time, watching porn or flipping through a magazine porn probably back then. And he worked for a very reputable company. We'll just give the initials, PC. And I was able to get some backdoor support from PC because we let Drewski live on our couch for free. And I told him, I'm like, Drewski, I want the fucking A-kit suspension. If I'm going to give you this much money, I want I want the kit suspension because I paid him a lot of money for this shit. It wasn't cheap, even though it was backdoor suspension. And he was like, dude, the new shit that we're doing, like I can give you the house suspension with the factory A-kit seals, and all you're missing is the Kashima coating, and you have A-kit suspension. I was like, no fucking way. He's like, yeah, man, that's how PC's building it now. They're building their A-kit stuff and they're selling it, but essentially the house stuff is the same valving and the same springs. I'll just give you the better seals and you've got fucking A-kit suspension. And I was like, sold. We're fucking rocking and rolling, baby. And that was it, man. I got that suspension, and that leads us into our next video where I'll have a fun moment.
We rode the other day at Parla.
Oh yeah.
And there's a tabletop on the vet track.
Oh,
and,
okay.
and you used to have a 180 U-turn before it, and then you'd have to like seat bounce it.
Yeah.
And now there's a big fast sweeper.
Yeah.
And I jumped it the other day completely to flat, both wheels flat, landed in between that and the next jump, and I'm in the air being like, fuck. Didn't even bottom the suspension out.
Oh, okay.
Couldn't believe how, like, I was preparing, my wrist rolled, like I was almost like my hand blew off.
Yeah.
Couldn't believe it, how good it actually dealt with that impact.
That's fucking rad. So I have the exact same story. I got my kit stuff, and we're out like testing in the back. I think it was me and John and maybe somebody other guys were out there. Oh no, it was right before the Lake Elsinore GP. My parents were down, so we went out and we're testing the bike a little bit with my dad, and he wanted to ride around a little bit. So we're out in this area where we had a bunch of big jumps, and I was doing this jump it's a step up, and then you would turn around and you go down it and land the opposite way. So you were like going from flat, there's like a 6-foot lip, and then you're dropping down like 30 or 40 feet and landing on the downside. I hit it in third instead of second by accident one time, and I'm floating up in the air, and I'm like, oh my God, I am going to die. Like, I am going to die. My ankles are gone. My wrists are gone. This is it. This is the last time I'm ever riding a dirt bike. Like, it's fucking over. And you have time to go through all this. And A, it was a big jump, and B, like, time slows down when you're in those types of situations. You really have time to think about how you fucked your life up and how you ended up here.
Yeah.
And I landed completely on the flat, a little bit nose high, slapped down, and the bike just fucking absorbed it. And I went, no fucking way. And I looked up at my dad, and he's just like, what the fuck just happened? Like, how are you still living right now? And I'm just like, dude, this bike is fucking insane. And from that point on, I was a different fucking racer. Like, I went up and did really well at the Lake Elsinore GP the next day. I fucked up, you remember, we were there. I was doing very well until I got tired. Once I got tired, then I just completely fell off. But I was well inside the top 20 before I got tired. I got 31st even after I got tired. So I must have been doing really well in the beginning. And then I had a couple of really great races at Washougal before I blew that bike up and it got repoed. Yeah, that bike got repoed. I should probably not tell the story of that because, yeah, fuck it. Let's push the envelope a little bit. When that bike got repoed, it was at my mom's place. And there was a bike in the garage that shouldn't have been there. That's as far as I'm going to go with this story. Like, that bike shouldn't have been in the garage. And if the repo guy comes into the garage, he's going to check the VIN on every bike in the garage. And that bike should not be in the garage. So somehow she got the guy to leave. I wasn't home at the time. So she gets a hold of me and is like, you got to get these fucking bikes out of my garage right now. So I called the repo guy and I'm like, hey, man, yeah, I'll go pick up the bike for you right now. It's at my mechanic's. He's got it stripped down. We're doing suspension. We're doing motor work, and he's got stuff sent out. And if you want the bike, I can give it to you right now, but all I can give you is the frame and the engine. I don't have any of the other components. That's all I have. And he's getting fucking pissed. Oh, you're fucking with me, this and that. I'm like, all right, man. Like, this is all I can do, And then he sees me driving down the freeway with both bikes in the back of my pickup. And he's calling me and I'm just not answering it. And I finally, what happened was I called my buddy, Fozzie B. Do you remember Fozzie B? Doesn't matter.
I don't think so.
Anyways, I called him up. He was living in Windsor at the time. I'm like, dude, you need to meet me at the Walmart in Windsor with your tools now. Like, all right, fuck it, I'll be there. We show up and we stripped that bike down to a frame and engine. I kept all of the fucking good components, all the suspension, and I brought him back a frame and engine, and he fucking took it. And he was so pissed. I saw you driving. I was like, yeah, man, I was dropping off a different bike. I've got 3 bikes. What do you want from me? But anyways, that bike disappeared, and I never got any money for the suspension or anything anyways, because by the time I was ready to sell the shit, it was already out of date, you know?
Yeah.
I would imagine that the stock stuff today is better than the A-kit stuff I had in 2008. Not even close.
Yeah.
I would imagine that the stock stuff today is probably better than the factory stuff from 2008. That's how much the bikes have changed. When you watch the old races from like 08 to like 12 or 15, dude, the bikes are everywhere. Chatter, people are getting fucking tossed around. Now you watch and the bikes are just stuck to the ground. You know, they're so much better now. It's crazy. But anyways, that was my A-kit stories.
Yeah, that's what's wild about suspension. I say it all the time, and it irritates the hell out of me. Harley is just now getting their shit together. It seems like with their stock stuff they're putting out. They just started putting inverted forks on some of their touring models, and then the CVOST. It's kind of like a super tuned down, dumbed down King of the Baggers bike is the inspiration. But the first time I rode one of those, I was actually the first time I was impressed with a Harley Davidson.
Oh, really?
At least a stock one, man. Just the suspension. I mean, the power and the engine was good and all that, but the biggest upgrade for me was the suspension by far. And on a big, stupid, heavy bike like that, suspension is fucking everything, and they're only just starting to figure it out because of racing.
Suspension's everything on every bike.
Yeah.
It
And a lot of
matter.
people don't get that, man. A lot of people don't get that.
They think it's the motor.
Every once in a while, some guy will come in after he buys a bike and actually went through his owner's manual a little bit and started messing with his suspension. And he'll try to talk to our service advisor or something like that. And he's got like a basic concept of it, but then he'll come and get me, and I will just sit there and give both of them like at least a master master suspension 101 kind of a thing. And people don't get it. It used to drive me wild at my old shop. People would come in and I'd get a work order and it would say like, adjust the suspension. I'm like, what do you mean adjust the suspension? I was like, to do that, I need the guy in his gear, and we need to go to like a course or like a section of town or something like that where he can go ride, come back, give me feedback. I make small adjustments, send him back out. He can ride. Like suspension is not just turn a couple clicks and you're good to go.
Yeah. You know who's a great suspension tech? ChatGPT. Very good suspension tech. Have you ever messed around with it for like any like engine or suspension type of thing like that? You can actually. It's interesting. You should dig around on it a little bit. God damn it, Ozzy, shut up. And you can tell it, hey, for the purpose of this conversation, you are going to be a suspension tech. For all of the questions that I ask you, please refer to the Race Tech Suspension Bible. And it'll do it. And it'll give you every fucking answer that the Race Tech Suspension Bible has in it, and it'll do it in a small, tight way, so you don't have to be looking through the whole thing to find the section you're looking for. And the Race Tech Suspension Bible it does dirt and street. So you can get it. Yeah, it's very interesting. And I'm sure it's good with like jetting and, well, I guess jetting's the thing of the past now because we're all fuel injection now. But I bet back in the day you could have gotten some great jetting tips on something like that, you know?
Yeah. I'll have to play around with that.
Yeah, I tell people play around with it with things that you know very well. Don't trust it on things that you don't know a lot about because
Yeah.
who knows if it's giving you the right answer. But you could have I can have a very good conversation with it about dirt bikes because I know dirt bikes very well. And so you can see immediately if it's taking you in the right direction or a wrong direction. But like it does great with like you give it a breakdown and you go, hey, look, my buddy was looking for bikes and we were kind of in between a couple bikes that I didn't know a lot about, like these betas. I don't know a lot about these betas. And it'd be like, all right, my buddy is 5'9", 175 pounds. He's looking at a beta cross trainer, a 125X Yamaha off-road bike, or a Honda CRF 150R. What would be the best? He's a beginner. You just give it all the information that you can. The more information you give it, the better answer you'll get. And it'll give you a massive breakdown on like, all right, for this type of riding, you're going to want this bike. For this type of riding, you'll want that bike. For this skill level, you want to do it like this. And man, it's something that if we had access to this shit back in the day, man, it would have changed everything. We fucked
Yeah.
around with my suspension so much, and I was just never able to get it right. Like, I fucked with it at Kahia Creek for fucking days and days and days. And then finally I was like just struggling and went back to my base setting and went to Glen Helen one day and Bones was out there and I was just like, hey man, can you give me a fucking setting? I'm struggling with this fucking thing. And he set my sag and gave me a setting and I never fucking changed it again after that. I'm like, you know what? I'm not even going to touch it. I never touched it a click.
Yeah, I'll
Not
deal with
even-
it.
yeah, like I'll just fucking figure it out. Like I know what it does and like I have confidence in the bike and it's fast and I'm just going to let it go as it is, Those bikes were fucking badass back then. My first Kawasaki 4-stroke was a piece of shit. But I didn't realize it was a piece of shit until I got off of the fucking thing. When you're on the bike, you're like, oh yeah, this thing's good. And then you get off and you're like, holy crap, that thing was a piece of shit. Had a steel frame. The motor fucking sucked. Like it overheated like crazy. And I got onto that 07 aluminum frame bike and right away I was like, oh, this is what I've been missing. Like I can actually ride this fucking bike and be competitive. And also like I was such a small kid until I was like 19 or 20 and started going to the gym with you and like putting on that extra, I was probably 160, 165 pounds when I graduated high school. And I think by the time I was 20, I was like 185 and like a decent amount of muscle on me. And dude, I could fucking wrestle that bike around like nothing. And I was going up against, I was racing guys who were 120 to 150 pounds. So I was losing a ton of power off the start, but my bike was so good that it didn't really matter all that much at the time.
Yeah.
If I could go back and do it over again, I don't think I would have bought that 250. I think I would have waited a year for Kawasaki, or maybe I would have just gone to a different brand bike. I should have gotten a 450. I should have just gotten good on the 450. And, like I was always good on a 252 stroke. I did better on a 252 stroke than a 125 two stroke always because I had power to play with. And, if I could have gotten good on one of those 450s, things would have been different. But back then, like hindsight's always 2020, like back then, nobody made it on the 450 first. Like there was just no avenue for that. You had to go and do well on the 250 before you could get into the 450 class. And now like the 250 class is harder to do well in outdoors. So like the 450 class, it's really hard to get a top 5. It's almost impossible to get a fucking podium. But 5 through 15 is pretty much up for grabs. And a decent outdoor rider can get like a 5 to 15 or 10 to 15 where you're like, holy crap, where did this guy come from? And they can't do it on the 250 because you're on a privateer bike and you're going up against, Mitch Payton, which good luck beating Mitch Payton on a fucking privateer bike. You're just not going to do it. The guy's one of the best engineers in the fucking country. So, good luck on that. And you toss him on a 450 and all of a sudden you're like, holy shit, this guy's fucking P5 right now. Where the hell did that come from?
Yeah.
This kid Masterpool, he was racing a 450 for a couple years for Kawasaki. Did very well outdoors. Had a couple top 5s. I think he got a podium even. It's just like, whoa, where did this come from? And then Mitch signed him to ride a 250, and immediately did not do as well. Not even close. Like got smoked at Pala, got smoked at Hangtown, did better in Colorado, and then won by point. Jesus Christ, man. You go from riding the 450s and these guys are all roll on, roll off, to just wide open, tapped at 14,500 RPMs on a 250F. And like Ken Roxon, who's one of the baddest 450 riders in the world, raced a 250 moto or raced a 250 race last year for fun. And like the first moto, he was hanging it out a little bit. And you could tell the second moto, he was just like, yeah, fuck this game. I'm not playing around with these kids on these fucking 250s. You guys are nuts. Shit. Well, let's get into a little bit of politics. I've got us a nice mashup. We always like a good mashup. Is that what they're called? A mashup? What are these things called? It must be called something. Mashup's good enough. Here we go.
That works. Yeah.
To the dramatic scene in the Oval Office today, the tense confrontation, President Trump ambushing the president of South Africa.
That's
Next,
what it is.
Another Oval Office meltdown, President Trump ambushing the president of South Africa.
President Trump is being accused of conducting something of a diplomatic ambush of South Africa's president in the Oval Office.
To be with you, I'm Katie Tur. President Trump orchestrated another Oval Office ambush today.
Today, Donald Trump meeting with the president of South Africa and attempting to ambush and humiliate that leader.
Zelensky territory, where essentially he was a bit ambushed inside the Oval Office.
Felt like an ambush in there, kind of like the President Zelensky meeting in the Oval Office.
Ambush.
This was an ambush. It was orchestrated.
Cyril Ramaphosa brought his best diplomatic self to this meeting, but nothing could have prepared him for this multimedia ambush.
What started as, to some degree, an ambush.
Well, Katie, I mean, it was an ambush.
Ambush.
Ambush. Ambush.
An ambush.
Ambushing.
Ambushed inside the Oval Office.
Oh, I love those. They're so fucking fun. You know, I haven't looked into this all that much. I did see the clips of Trump and that president in or whatever the fuck he is in the Oval Office. And like, I don't know how much you know about this shit, but like white people ran South Africa for fucking thousands of years, or maybe not that long, hundreds of years. And now recently the blacks have taken over and they're just murdering all the white farmers. So there's like this road. Yeah. So there's this road that has all these crosses up and down it that represent white farmers who've been killed by crazy black people. And he's like Trump's like showing this video in the Oval Office to this guy. And the guy's like, I don't know what you're talking about. That doesn't happen here. And we're not. And it's like, yeah, dude, we all know what's fucking going on. We all know what's going on. You don't want to admit it, but that's what's happening. And if he did admit it, if he goes, oh yeah, we have a problem with white people getting murdered in South Africa, he'll get murdered. So it's not like he's going to be able to cop up to it anyways, right?
Yeah.
So
I did hear, wasn't that was a issue not too long ago. Trump wanted to give a bunch of white people from South Africa visas or something like that. And then everybody was making a stink about it because they're white, but they want to get out of South Africa because they're getting murdered.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what's happening. And luckily for us, you know, here in Idaho, we have the great Idaho statesmen to make sure that we're viewing these stories in the proper light, you know, because we can't just allow white people into the country. Like, what kind of sick, twisted country do we live in where we're going to let white people in here? My goodness. So this is from our local paper, the Idaho Statesman. South Africa, get ready to laugh at me trying to read out loud, people. So this will be fun for you. South Africans heading to Idaho allowed into U.S. because of their race. Opinion. An opinion piece, at least. It's not, you know, they wouldn't just put this out on their normal feed. You have to tell it's an opinion piece. So they can have some plausible deniability when people call them fucking racists. Here we go. The South African refugees who are being provided refuge in the United States, including 9 in Idaho, oh my God, are being given preferential treatment by the Trump administration. There's no question about it, Nolan. There's no question about it. But let's state the obvious. These refugees are being given preferential treatment not because of their situation or imminent danger, but because of their race. They're not in danger at all. This whole genocide thing that's not happening. I don't know what kind of news you guys are watching, or those crosses, those were just old churches. There was 500 churches up and down. up and down that road, and they've all been demolished, but you leave the cross there so people know that this was a holy site at some point. Or maybe, just maybe, we had a saint die there thousands of years ago. That's what's probably happening is Saint fucking Africano died there.
Somebody.
20,000 years ago.
Really?
Oh, God, it took me to the wrong fucking site. You cocksuckers. Here we go. All right. President Donald Trump's favorite billionaire, well, other than himself, at least they're admitting that he's a billionaire. Typically, they won't admit that he's a billionaire. They're like, oh, he doesn't actually have $1 billion. He's lying. He only got $900 million. That's crazy that he calls himself a billionaire. He's a fake billionaire. He's got fake business. He started a fake university, Nolan. Did you know that? Okay. Is Elon Musk, who is our favorite African American, Elon Musk. That's Dan's favorite African American, so he's a friend of the show. Who is from South Africa and is no doubt whispering sweet nothings into Trump's ear about the atrocities, in quotes, that these white South Africans are allegedly enduring. I added sweet nothings. That would have been better, Like, get yourself a copy editor, dumb fuck. The far right in the U.S. has jumped on claims that white South Africans are facing widespread discrimination and violence over land ownership. Oh my God. As part of a new law similar to the Americans known as eminent domain. So they're using eminent domain to take over these people's farms. How sick is that? I haven't read this whole article. I only read the first couple lines and I was like, oh, this is perfect. We have to bring this to the show. So I didn't know about that, but that makes perfect sense, dude. Like, eminent domain. We use it here all the time. We steal Native Americans' land. Where's that article? Where's the article about the land that my company was stealing from Native Americans when I was working in North Dakota? I haven't seen one of those articles. Have you?
Oh, well, we don't want to talk about that.
Yeah, we don't want to talk about that. Let's talk about this instead. Trump foolishly and ignorantly called it a genocide. What is it? You're killing people based on their race. But a New York Times investigation shows the data isn't true. Oh, goodness. The New York Times. Thank God for the New York Times, Nolan. I mean, at least you can tell all these people who have lost family members and are at these crosses. You can go, hey, look, guys, all your family members, they weren't murdered because of their race. They all died in car accidents. You just didn't hear about it. Police data showed that of the 225 people killed in South African farms between April 2020 and March 24, 101 were workers living on farms, most of them black, while 53 victims were farmers who are usually white. What kind of ridiculous? Oh my God!
On the weekends, they do blackface.
Yeah. Hey, maybe that's what happened. Maybe they dressed up in blackface to try and blend in. And it was like, you remember that video during George Floyd where those white kids are like up in the window like, yeah, we're on your side. And all the black people are like, fuck you, and started throwing rocks at him. That's probably what happened. When asked why he expedited the process for the South Americans, Trump said, because they're being killed. Yeah, that would be a decent. And look, dude, how many fucking thousands and thousands of immigrants, non-white immigrants, have been let into Idaho in the past 4 years? ChatGPT couldn't even give me a number. It's like, we don't really know, thousands.
Nobody knows.
Thousands. And now they're freaking out over 9 people. 9 fucking people. They're writing this entire article about 9 people. It's really something. They have no shame. They have no shame. Large numbers of deaths that should not be trivialized. Well, that's what this entire article is doing. You're trying to sweep the entire thing under the rug. Like, that's what trivializing is making something seem like it's not happening when it actually is. Like, that's crazy. but thousands of others who are seeking refuge in the United States have fled nations where far more than 53 people are being killed. Yeah, man, these fucking people will claim asylum in like Chile or something like that. And instead of going to the first safe nation on their way to the United States, no, they just keep on going to the United States, which is not how this shit is supposed to work. If the white Africans had somewhere in Africa to go, don't you think they would have gone there already? But something tells me that they're not going to be treated well anywhere in that area. Yeah. And hey, there's been some colonialism in Africa. Like, I can understand why there's a little bit of malice towards the Boer. But come on, you can't fucking do this. I wonder how much longer this is. Oh my God. I don't think we can do all of this. This is too much. This is too much. I think we've got, oh wait, here's something. This looks fun. They're coming from countries such as Afghanistan, Sudan, and the Democratic Republic of Congo, or shithole countries, as Trump likes to say. Quote, we should have more people from Norway. He once said Norway is, of course, 82% white. Yeah, thanks for telling us that Norway was 82% white. If Norway is 82% white, why are there black people in the Viking shows?
Oh, you should ask ChatGPT that.
I should. You know, they had that. Remember that show Vikings? Did you ever watch that show?
Oh yeah.
You look like you could be an extra on that show.
Yeah.
Anyways, they had that whole shield maiden thing, and like, to be fair, whatever the main character's name, Ragnar Rothblark, his wife was a fucking smoke show in that show. So like, let's put that off to the side. The shield maiden thing did not exist. The only evidence for shield maidens was like they found a dead woman with a shield buried with her, and it's like, okay, that could mean anything. Like, that could be your husband's shield. But instead, archaeologists say, oh, this is proof that women were actually soldiers back then, and we're just racist and homophobic and you know, anti-woman in this country. We should have pregnant women storming the fucking gates of Normandy. It's just so disgusting. What kind of a civilization puts their women on the front line? Ugh.
Well, I mean, like, honestly,
maybe a smart one. Get rid of them.
I mean, realistically, the only civilization that should ever like stoop to that would be one like literally on the brink of, you know, getting annihilated. Like, where you actually need
not the Vikings. The Vikings were doing the fucking. They were not getting fucked. They were laying down the dick. You know? The Vikings. They were not worried about the fucking the English and the Brits coming in to take over their land. That was not happening, Nolan. That was not going to happen back then. The Brits and the Englishmen, the French, they were tiny little peasants. They were living under feudalism. They were called the little people back then. You know why they were called the little people?
Because they were so malnutritioned.
Yeah,
they were
malnutritioned,
underdeveloped.
Yeah, they weren't allowed to eat meat for the most part. Like they were actually physically smaller than royalty because royalty got good food. And that's why they were called the little people. I always thought they were called the little people as like a pejorative. Like, oh, you're just, you know, you're beneath us. But it actually had something to do with their physical size, which is pretty fucking crazy. So anyways, that was our update from Idaho this week. I can't read that whole article. It's too much. Too much. We'll lose all of our listenership. Let's spice this thing up a little bit with some fucking Senator Kennedy.
The 76-day period you're talking about, that's the period between the time that President Trump was elected and President Biden left office. Is that right?
That is correct.
During that short period of time, 76 days, how much taxpayer money went out the door of the Department of Energy?
From the Loan Program Office in loans and commitments, $93 billion. Well over twice as much as in the previous 15 years. There is lots of funds that have gone out the door and commitments that were made from businesses that provided no business plan, no numbers about their own financial solvency or how this project
So
can
you're
actually
telling
work.
me
they're solving climate
the
change.
Department of Energy, in the 76-day period before their boss was going to leave office, gave or loaned money to entities that had no business plan?
Correct.
No financials?
Correct.
Here's the problem, Nolan. Climate change acts so fast that you can't put together a business plan because you have to be able to react immediately, to current
the money.
threats. Maybe not forecasted threats because, we could forecast a threat, but then we could be hit with an immediate threat. So what's the point of even making a business plan? Just give us the money and we'll figure it out as we go.
Come in with great concern about how this institution, this great American institution, has been run and how American taxpayer money has been handled.
But you're going back through and checking each one of these loans and these grants to make sure there was no stealing, aren't you?
We're looking at that, and yeah, my blood pressure is rising right now just thinking about what we have seen and what did happen at the department.
And you're going to tell some of these boondoggles no, aren't you?
That's correct.
It's rare that I'm speechless. But I want to be sure I understood. The people running the Department of Energy for President Biden's administration shoveled $93 billion, not million, $93 billion out the door in 76 days, and it just happened to be the time between when President Trump was elected and President Biden, their boss, was leaving.
Oh, that's a coincidence.
Is that right?
It is correct and distasteful.
Oops.
Confidence undermining.
My God.
I do love me some Senator Kennedy. He's the fucking man. I would imagine that I don't agree with a lot of his platform, but goddamn is he good at that. Like that's what he's really good at, and he is one of the best. Man, can you believe these fucking snakes? Almost $100 billion out the door during the lame duck period going to climate change. It's really something. It's really something. And do you think they're going to really tell these people no and get their money back? I don't. No. I don't think any of that money
is probably already gone.
It's probably already gone. Yeah, absolutely. And who knows what they fucking spend this shit on? Cocaine, yachts. Zelensky gets a new pair of shoes. Who knows, really? And there's also another possibility. If we do have like captured UFOs and black projects and shit like that, the Department of Energy would be the ones looking over that type of shit. I think a lot of people think that the military would be the ones looking over the UFOs, but I think it would probably be the Department of Energy. That's who oversees all the nukes and all the big stuff and all the scary shit. So I would imagine that we've got shit like that. The Department of Energy's got their dirty little fucking claws in it. And it should be the Department of No Energy, because that's what we're going to be in this country in the next fucking 20 years is the Department of No Energy, because we're not going to have any energy. AI is going to be demanding all of this fucking power that we don't have. We're not going to be able to fix the infrastructure in the small towns and even large cities. Like, dude, if you're listening to this from San Francisco right now, go outside and look at the power lines for a minute. You've probably never done that before because people don't pay attention to that shit. But you go outside and look up and see what's going on. It's a goddamn mess. I remember telling my buddy, who was it? Doesn't matter. One of the guys I did line work with, Cody. I was telling him about lines in San Francisco because I was still traveling back and forth to San Francisco as I'm learning in North Dakota. And I'm like, dude, San Francisco is a fucking mess. Like I told him, I was like, I was looking around at my block the other day and I'm looking up. And dude, I couldn't find where the feed was. I have no idea what direction anything was going. I didn't even know what was going where. He's like, oh, come on, it's not that bad. Well, maybe not. I don't know. Like I'm new, so maybe you could figure it out easily. About a year or two later, I got a call from him one day. Like, hey, what's up, dude? And he's like, motherfucker, I'm standing in San Francisco right now trying to figure out where the fucking feed from this power line is coming through. He's like, this place is a fucking nightmare. I don't know how it still runs. And I'm like, yeah, I told you, man, it's something else. And like the entire city needs to be demolished and rebuilt. Not just the power lines, the entire city needs to be demolished and rebuilt at this point.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, we're not going to have any energy pretty soon. And the money that we should be spending on re-electrifying America is going out the door to climate change companies. You know, like there should be massive, massive grants and scholarships going to people who want to go to line school right now. We need people. We need bodies. We've got to build some fucking lines, and here's some money to go do it. You know, like that would be a good use of Department of Energy money right now. Not giving them money, but giving them access to school. Like they're gonna spend the money on something anyway. So let's like spend it on something that's actually going to provide a service for this fucking country. I'll have to remember to bring this up when we go to our fuck the police video. But yeah, anyways, about the money being already gone, let's move on to this whistleblower about white farmers.
President Trump is not quiet about his criticism of the Biden administration. In fact, he's usually quite the opposite. There is arguably, however, nothing quite as harsh as Trump's anger over Biden's DEI policies. Well, in a News Nation exclusive, senior national correspondent Brian Enton spoke to a manager at the Federal Farm Bureau who was blowing the whistle. He says a Biden-era law appears to be helping all farmers, but in reality is only helping some. And he showed us the documents to prove it.
When former President Joe Biden left Washington, D.C., he was leaving behind a DEI secret involving American farmers and $800 million in taxpayer money. And a United States Department of Agriculture whistleblower is now sounding the alarm.
It was to pay off anyone who wasn't a white male's loan. That was the only qualification for this loan forgiveness.
And what was the reaction?
So it was really silent. They were trying to keep this hushed because of the obvious implications of race-based loan forgiveness.
Race-based loan forgiveness. It's in black and white, buried in the American Rescue Plan Act. The United States Secretary of Agriculture shall provide a payment in an amount up to 120% of the outstanding indebtedness of each socially disadvantaged farmer or rancher. The act explicitly lays out who's considered socially disadvantaged.
So just to be clear, if you were American Indian, Alaskan Native, Asian Black, African American, Native Hawaiian, Pacific Islander, Hispanic, or Latino, and you were in that group, you were told you didn't have to pay your bills, essentially?
Yes, that's correct, and that your loan would be forgiven up to 120% of the loan value.
To me, it was combating racism with more racism. I couldn't believe that it was happening in today's age.
James Dunlap owns a small family farm in Baker City.
So they're going to pay you not to pay your loan off? So if you take out a $100,000 loan and you're up over your fucking eyeballs, not only do you not have to pay the loan back, but they're going to give you 20 grand. I thought it was hard to be black in America.
Oregon, he works 2 other jobs to keep his farm afloat, but did not qualify for the loan forgiveness because he's white.
He's white, don't listen to him.
What they were saying was that minority farmers were going to have their loans forgiven for no reason, other than they decided to, they being the government. So,
And how much money they had nothing to do with it.
As far as I understand, not at all. It wasn't about hardship. It wasn't about financial situations at all. It was purely what box you checked under that ethnicity line on your application.
If you checked a non-white box, you got the free money, no matter how rich you were. James and other white farmers sued the Biden administration and were successful. The loan forgiveness for any farmer who's not white was stopped. The judge writing in his decision, it was an actual constitutional harm that cannot be undone. And James and other white farmers will suffer the harm of being excluded from eligibility for that debt relief program solely on the basis of his race. That harm he has shown is irreparable. But this is where things get interesting. The Biden administration was not ready to give up. They passed the Inflation Reduction Act to help farmers who couldn't pay their loans. It was supposed to help all farmers, but News Nation has learned all farmers were not told about it. News Nation obtaining a copy of this email that was sent out to share information about new payments and or loan modifications that may assist you. But here's the catch. Our whistleblower says it was only sent to the minority farmers, aka the socially disadvantaged group. And he says USDA workers were even instructed to tell that group to stop paying their loans because they would still be forgiven. The whistleblower says none of the white farmers he works with received the email.
They got nothing. You know, it might not meet the legal definition of fraud, but it isn't right. It was discriminatory, it was unethical, and the people who pushed it
I think this whistleblower sounds white, so we probably should listen to him.
are still in charge of the agency.
They're still in charge.
Yes.
They blacked out his face, so not only is he white, but the motherfucker's wearing blackface. Unbelievable. On an interview, Nolan.
At our national office, they're still
in charge.
Trump hasn't got rid of them.
We reached out to the United States Department of Agriculture. They did not respond to our specific questions or our questions about what the whistleblower said, that some of these DEI policies still remain in effect and in some of the documents.
Yeah, but they did leave a long statement that I cut out, which was like, oh, this is awful, and we're not going to stand for this, and we're going to do something right away, and yeah, fucking right. Give me some of that. No fucking way they're going to stop this shit. They can't, dude. It's like crack for these fucking people. It's really crazy. Socially disadvantaged farmers. What the fuck does that even mean? You're not living in the inner city. You're on a fucking farm. Like, how is it? It's socially disadvantaging to be a black farm owner. It makes no sense at all to me. Like, all of this shit is just racism. Like, that article that we read was pure gold and hilarious, but also like extremely fucking racist. They're flipping out over 9 people when we've had thousands and thousands of people enter Idaho in the past 4 years. And who knows how many since, like the 90s or whatever, probably millions of people. It's fucking insane, man. These people are nuts, Nolan. They're fucking nuts.
I had I think it's hilarious, but I can't remember the guy's name. He made the that movie Am I Racist? And then some other one.
Yeah, Matt Walsh.
Yeah. We should pitch him Coming to America, but it's white South Africans, and then you come into America and the role, like, the shit's just fucking flip-flop.
But what if some of those white South Africans are actually Eddie Murphy dressed up in the barbershop clothing? I can't remember any of the lines from it, but it's always the boxing. I love that movie. Coming to America is a fucking classic, man. McDougal's, come on. Give me some of that shit. Fucking McDowell's. I'll get down on a double. I don't remember what they called them, but yeah, dude, great fucking movie. I love that movie. There's a couple funny things out on Netflix right now. Netflix is now allowed to be funny again. They've gotten away from DEI bullshit, and they've decided that stuff doesn't make any money, and now they're about being funny again. So there's a show called Tires by Shane Gillis. And it's really funny. It is really, really funny. It's just like him and a couple other comics in a tire shop, like working and just telling jokes and shitting on the guy who runs the place. It is really fucking funny. And then there's another new one out, which is really good. I don't think it's quite as funny, but it's called Bad Thoughts, Tom Segura. And it's a bunch of shorts, and it's pretty funny. The thing that really pissed me off about it, though, and you'll know this already, is that I saw a couple of the clips on Twitter, and it was the best clips from the show. And you know me, I hate fucking previews. I think previews are fucking stupid. If I know I'm going to watch something, I don't want to watch the preview and have the entire thing spoiled for me. So like half of it was spoiled. The whole first skit was, I knew what was going to happen already. So it's like, this is kind of fucking lame. But anyways, Tires is the shit.
You should watch this movie. I went to the movies a long time ago and saw a preview for it, and I was interested in it. It looked like, you know, it was worth giving a shot, but it finally came out on HBO. It's fucking Robert Pattinson. It's called Mickey 17. It's actually pretty funny. He him and his buddy are trying to escape paying back a loan shark. So there's a program. They're trying to send a colonization ship to another planet. And his buddy was smart, got a pilot job or something. He signs up to be an expendable, which they copy his body, copy his mind. They send him on all the dangerous jobs, and he dies and gets reprinted.
Oh, nice. That's right up my alley. I like a good sci-fi flick. Speaking of sci-fi, have you seen either of the new Dune movies, Dune 1 or Dune 2?
Yeah, I've seen them.
Dune was fucking good, dude. How about that scene in the first one where they're like at the military planet and they've got the big fucking the big pyramid with all the guys hanging upside down, bleeding out, doing the it's fucking badass, man. And then in Dune 2, that opening scene with the big eclipse, and oh man, those movies were really good. I was very impressed with those movies. And I like the original Dune, the David Lynch version. It's weird as shit, but very fucking entertaining movie. You know, the force fields are fucking hilarious. And what's his name? The big fat guy, the Draconin or whatever his fucking name is. I don't remember. Yeah. I've read all the books. The books are something else. They're very deep books. Like you could read them 2 or 3 times and still not get everything out of them. Like, not what I was expecting when I first started reading them, because the David Lynch version of Dune is so weird and kooky that you're kind of expecting something different, not this like really deep philosophical book that like you have to pay a lot of attention to and kind of like stop every once in a while and go, oh, fuck, man, I never thought of shit like that before. You know, like
dude,
that
I think
type
that
of
was,
thing.
Yeah, I think that was, I want to say that was that Andromeda Strain or something? I remember reading a book where it was just like so technical and stuff like that. I had to stop every once in a while, just try to process, go back a couple pages.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a great quote that I always butcher, so I ended up writing it down. This is from God Emperor of Dune. This fully encapsulate like government, both parties, like just perfectly. When I am weaker than you, I ask for freedom because that is according to your principles. When I am stronger than you, I take away your freedom because that is according to my principles. Oh, motherfucker. You know, and like as a writer, you go, fuck, man, I could never write something like that. And like, that's just one fucking quote amongst so many that you'll never fucking hear. All right, Nolan's fucking lighting went out. Who knows what happened? He's probably getting raided. He's probably getting raided by a group of black African farmers. They're coming to take your land, Nolan. We'll let you into Idaho, though. You can be number 10.
They took our jobs.
They took my job. All right. Speaking of trying to take somebody's job, I've got a really fun fuck the police video that we'll get on, and then we'll get out of here. This guy signed up for a ride along. In part 1 of the video, which we're not going to watch, he's telling the guy, man, I'm ready for some action. I'm going to be a police today. Oh, my God. And the cop's like, yeah, no, man, we're going to be a secondary. We might pull some people. Oh, I'm ready for some fucking action. This cop immediately should have been like, get the fuck out of my car, dude. Like, this is not happening. But instead, he's being a fucking idiot. Now I wish we were playing the whole clip because this cop is so fucking stupid just listening to this guy. And here's the video. He's pulling someone over.
Afternoon, sir.
Told the guy to stay in the car.
Driver's license, registration, and insurance, please.
I do have a gun in the car.
You have a gun in the car? All right. Do you know why I stopped you?
Yes, sir.
All right, I stopped you because you don't have a tag on your car.
You don't?
No, sir.
What happened there?
Do you mind if I check your paperwork and we'll figure out what's going on with your tag?
Of course.
All right, I'm going to walk back to the car. I'll be right back.
Okay.
And here he is.
What the hell are you doing? You're not supposed to have a firearm. Drop it. Drop it. Drop it.
Oh, this
Walk
is too
to
much.
the car. Walk to the car. Hands. Put your hands on the car. Who said you could have a firearm on a ride-along?
Dude, not only that, but you're gonna let some guy in your car and not check him?
All right, well, you're not supposed to have a firearm on you.
Especially the way he was talking.
No. Did they not explain it to you when you were signed up for the program?
I thought I was about to be the policeman.
Nah, you're not the policeman. No way are you the policeman. This is a community outreach program, and whoever told you that was okay, no way.
I thought I was the policeman.
No.
Like you.
No.
I was coming for backup, man. I was coming to give you some backup.
I appreciate that, but you're not a police officer. You're a community ride-along outreach person.
I thought you needed backup, man. I was trying to give you some backup.
I appreciate that, but you're not allowed to have a gun.
Oh, wait.
Why would you have a gun on you?
It's legal in Florida.
I understand that it's legal in Florida.
I was trying to help you out, man. Give you some suppressing fire, man.
Okay. You know, I just met you today. There's no way I know what you can or cannot do with a firearm. You're not supposed to have a firearm on you at all. Do you understand that?
Yeah, okay.
You just committed a felony.
Wow. Just for trying to
That's
protect
what you get.
the police officer.
They're not your friends.
I appreciate you trying to help me, but not that way. We'll talk about this when we get to the
I
station.
think we've got it. He just rambles on a little bit.
Yeah.
Fuck that cop, dude. Fuck that cop. It's a gun. Get over it.
Yeah.
How about that? It's America. They're in Florida. You're allowed to conceal carry. How about that? The guy in the car had a gun. Maybe he would have helped you if you needed it.
Yeah. And
You know,
like I
fuck
said,
these
man,
guys.
maybe ask, be like, hey, do you have any weapons on you? Before
That'd be
I
smart.
let you sit shotgun or whatever.
Yep. Maybe do a background check and make sure you're not going to steal my gun out of the back while I'm on a car, on a call. I don't know if they did any of that. Fuck these people, man.
Doubtful.
Like these fucking cops. I was thinking about this earlier today. Like they're always bitching and complaining. Oh, our job is so dangerous and we have to act this way. Otherwise, we would all be murdered and blah, blah, blah. It's like, motherfucker, my job was way more dangerous than yours. Like, most cops never fire a weapon, never have a weapon fired at them. They're literally revenue collectors for the states. Road pirates. That's all they're really doing. Like, they're not doing actual dangerous work. But when was the last time I demanded that you respect me? Because my job was so dangerous, Nolan. You have to respect me because my job is so dangerous. Get out of here. Stupid ass fucking cops. And they're going to give this guy a felony for having a legal gun in a state. Like, that was your fault, cop. That was 100% your fault. The way the guy was talking in the first video, now I wish we played it, nothing but red flags. And he didn't even ask him, didn't do a pat down, nothing. Fuck that guy. He should be fired, and that guy should be let go.
Yep.
And on that, let's fucking get out of here.
I'm fading here.
Yeah, we're fading in, fading out. Woo!
Super. Take care now. Bye-bye then.